Thank you. Welcome, everybody. As introduced, my name is James Bringy. I'm an equipment sales specialist with GEA Farm Technologies. I grew up on a dairy farm near La Crosse, Wisconsin. I went to the UW here in the ag school. Go Bucky, right? My job with the organization is to work with our dealers directly, mostly in capital goods sales. Most of that today evolves around project sales, and project sales are either green site projects, rotaries and parallels, or expansions of existing facilities, remodels, repurposing them for future needs. All right. So today, our agenda is to kind of cover what's going on in the market, what kind of challenges you as producers face, what kind of things we can do to help you with those challenges, to work through this, think about solutions, deliver technology for you for your future needs. We're going to introduce to you a new product we've been working on called Dairy Pro X. It is a solution that really helps us deliver technology, robotic type technology into a conventional milking system to drive efficiency, profitability, and alleviate some of the challenges that you're facing every day. We want to look inside that technology, show you what it is, how we're accomplishing this process, some of the components, how we're installing it and delivering it. And then we want to talk to you a little bit about some of the results we see on dairies that have actually put this technology in, expectations as it relates to the performance of the dairy, what's happening with the cows that are using this, and then look at some of the return on investment, right? The critical factor for you. You're deploying capital into your business, what kind of return can you expect, and talk about cost of ownership issues related to this technology. We'll have time for some discussion at the end for some Q&A to explore anything, or if you don't want to ask questions here, certainly our booth is over in the exhibit hall area. I'll be there with some other people to help talk through anything you'd like to discuss. So, first of all, just so I know kind of dairymen in the audience, can you just kind of raise your hand so I know what the makeup is? People that actually milk cows? Okay. 4, 5, 6 of you. First of all, you're the reason we're all here, I'm here, right? So this is really driven, this conversation's driven towards you. We appreciate you being here and what you do every day. And for that, if all of you would come to our booth, especially after this discussion. There was a couple of you in the back. If I don't throw you something right now, come to our booth afterwards, and I'll give you some more stuff. So this is just a thank you for coming. Come by, talk to us. I want to give you some ice cream tickets so you can enjoy that. And then if you'd like to talk more about what we've got going on here, we'll certainly do that. So we know you're faced with challenges every day. Labor shortages is nothing new to what you deal with every day in your business, all right? Maybe more so today than it has been 5 years ago, right? And there's a lot of things driving that, and probably we're not going to solve that completely. Policy changes certainly are affecting, right, what you have for labor supply, the availability of it, and the quality of labor that you receive. Policy changes are definitely impacting that. We know that. These are things that we hear directly from you when we visit you. One of the nice things about what I do is I work directly with our dealer distribution network. So I'm on your farm, I'm working with our dealer network. It's an excellent feedback loop to our sales organization and our engineers about what you need, what we can help you fix, what we can do for you in the future. So when it comes to labor, you know, depending on where you live, West Coast, East Coast, and the southern part of the states, you have different availability of labor. Where your dairy is, how close your proximity is to other industrial sectors, right? You're competing directly with light or heavy manufacturing, construction for the same people. The environment we ask your employees to work with can be challenging. We know that. Would they rather work in an environment like this, in a factory? Yeah. So you compete directly with that. What you have to pay to retain, recruit, and keep those people is a real challenge. And we understand that. And we hear that all the time. So again, the challenge to us is what can we do to help you out with that? A constant challenge we hear from you is the need to milk more cows, right? So there's hardly a dairyman I work with that isn't milking more cows today than they were 5 years ago. And in fact, they're planning to milk more cows into the future, so making plans to accomplish that, right? Milking more cows, especially with your overhead that you have in place today, drives more profitability to the bottom line. So reusing your investment, using the same amount of labor to milk more cows under the same facility you have, right, drives more profit dollars, 100 weights of milk or pounds of protein, whatever your metric is, but we know that those margin dollars go straight to the bottom line. So it's asked of us, what can we do to help you do that, all right? So we recognize that challenge. Related to that, labor is a constant challenge to make sure what we do is always successful, right? Driving home, prep procedures, how we sequence the parlor, the shifts that you run, weekend relief, 24 hours a day, 365. Training is continuous to be successful in the environment you run your business in. So again, what can we do to help you alleviate that? And this is always with the pressure of do more with less, right? Less labor, less capital, use less energy, always do more with less. And so again, we think about that in the realm of our business and how it relates to you. So we've deployed automation into your facilities or various facilities over the course of time, right? On one segment of the market, we have fully automated milking systems now, box-style robots, robotic rotary systems, okay, heavily capitalized systems to relieve the milking chores, but to really bring a lot of consistency to prepping cows, milking cows, delivering predictability for that animal every time she's milked. That's up here. On the other end of the spectrum, we have what we call conventional milking systems. So let's call it a parallel parlor, right? A lot more mechanical or manual preparation for the cow, applying T-tip, cleaning cows, getting her ready to milk, milking her, etc. There's a segment right in the middle that has a huge need that can be automated, that we can bring more consistency to the cow and simplify the life of the operator and give the owner more control. And that's really what we're here to talk about today, is that segment of the market. Okay, so that product, like I had mentioned, is Dairy ProX. That is technology for us to deliver more automation in a conventional milking setup. And the goal of that is to bring simplicity for the operator, consistency to the cow. That's the benefit of automatic milking, right? The cow experiences the same thing every time she's milked. And more control for the owner, right? Control over the process for peace of mind. So to get this started off, I'm going to show you a video. And this video is going to be a split screen. On the left-hand side, a traditional parallel parlor. It's a double 20. It's got a detacher and a milk meter and a milker unit. And we're going to have a traditional prep, meaning T-tip, cleaning. We're going to attach a milker unit and then post-dip. On the right-hand side is the same parlor, 20 stalls, equipped with this new technology, Dairy Pro X. And we're going to let this video run. It's a time-lapse video, and then we'll talk about it. So hopefully this goes off here. Okay, I'm going to let that run again, and then I'm going to kind of talk through it a little bit. Oh, I guess it's going to go automatically. Okay, so quite a bit of difference on the performance and the activity going on in the same parlor, right? So we had these two individuals start their sequence at the same time, just so we can visibly see what's going to happen in this parlor. So on the left-hand side, this operator is doing a traditional prep, right? We're going to apply some T-tip and strip. She's going to do 7 cows in sequence, come back, wipe and attach, and then do the next segment of cows, and then the last segment. On the right-hand side of the parlor, we have an individual that's coming to the first stall, hitting the start button, and attaching a milker unit and hanging a hose strap. That takes about 3, 4, 5 seconds, depending on the individual and how the cows are reacting, and go down through the line. That takes about 90 seconds in this particular parlor. The process of cleaning, prepping, applying pre-dip, checking for milk, milking the cow, the application of a post-dip is all happening automatically on the right-hand side of the parlor. That is the technology and efficiency that we're going to try to deliver to a conventional milking setting, with the idea of fixing a lot of the challenges that we've been hearing from our customers and helping automate the milking process. So we want to take a look at that a little bit more in detail. Again, the whole goal here is, from an owner standpoint of your operation, is to give you more control over that process 24 hours a day, right? We know the hardest thing to do on your farm is to train people to do what you expect to be done 24 hours a day. And in reality, we also know it doesn't happen, as good as we try. So giving that control to an owner, operator, is very important, because it drives consistency for every animal every time she comes into that milking parlor. And we'll look at some data. As good as we do training people to milk cows, how that really looks when we think it's happening and it doesn't, because every person milking in that segment of the parlor is going to do it slightly different, right? Their timing's going to be different. That cow reacts. So the other goal of this system, again, is simplicity for the actual operator. We want to make that employee succeed. It's very easy to succeed when all we have to do is make sure cows come in, attach a milker unit, and observe what's going on in the milking parlor. So step one, put the milker unit on. We do that every day. It's part of our standard operating procedure. Step two, the system will take control of the process using our inliner technology, something as an organization we've used for over 15 years in robotic milking around the world. We're using a traditional classic 300 milker. You can see that in most barns around the country. It's the most popular milker unit in the world. It's in our booth. We've sold it for 20 years. So what we ask the operator to use is the same device that they've used practically their entire life. We want to make sure the post-dip is applied properly. We'll go through that in just a minute. And because we've used post-dip inside the liner, we want to rinse it out, right? The advantage of that is having a sanitary unit. As we got a germicidal agent we're using, we want to rinse it out, make sure it's clean for the next animal. So the inliner everything technology is our term for this whole process. And again, if you've seen a GEA robot, this is happening every day, or a robotic rotary. The difference is you as our customers have asked us, can you simplify this process for us? Can you make it go faster? Can you make it cheaper? Can you make it better? Right? From an engineering standpoint, cheaper, faster, better. An engineer would tell you, well, no, you can have only two of those things, right? You can have cheaper and faster, but it won't be better, or any combination thereof. Well, that's not true, because we can take the process that we use in a robot and simplify it. We don't need a camera. We don't need a mechanical arm to attach teacups. The use of the human deployed in this environment dramatically gives us an advantage, right? The speed at which a human being can observe and attach a milker unit and monitor the system is much better than what we have for technology today. Okay. The rest of the equation is our inliner everything technology, which we've used for 15 years. And so we'll go through that next. So step one, attach the milker unit. At that point, stimulation starts inside the milk liner to help move debris off the teat. Cleaning, we're going to use some water. Remove debris. Pre-dip, sanitation, more cleaning. Air, removal of product. First, foremilk starts to come out. Analyze it with a color sensor. Good milking starts. Good milk is delivered to the good milk line. Post-dip application in the head of the liner. Units removed, right? Barrel of the teat has teat dip on all sides, and we're leaving a droplet on the end. Unit comes off, it goes into the down position where we want to rinse it out, okay? I think this will roll again, or I'll push the button. So This is exactly the same process that we use today in robotic milking. And we know by looking at the data what that process being consistent every day, 3 times a day, 365 does for a cow. This is why people buy automatic milking systems today, right? We know this, the data is there. Cows love this consistency. So the challenge for us was to bring it into a conventional milking system. Proper stimulation brings big benefits to getting cows into the ready mode to milk. Consistently delivering the right amount of pre and post dip has huge benefits to teat health. Teat dipping in the liner under a slight amount of vacuum helps elongate the teat and helps get the pre-dip into the folds of the skin. And you got to remember, before that teat comes out of the cup, it's a sanitary environment, right? So before the teat end is exposed to the environment, we've teat dipped it. We want to leave product on the end of that sphincter before it's exposed to the environment. So an ideal situation, or as close to ideal as we can create. Then again, like I said, we're going to sanitize that unit to make sure it's ready for the next cow. That's just like the first shift after you CIP your parlor, right? We got a sanitary unit. You want to bring your best cows in to receive that environment. So that's what we're trying to recreate here. So how does that look in real life on a farm, right? So here's a cutaway of a parallel parlor. The upstairs of that system looks like it did before we installed this technology. Milker unit, CIP unit, a portal down to a subway, the installation of some equipment in the subway. Your milk line, wash line is still down there, but a nice environment for us to install this technology easily and efficiently. So, what do we see when we apply this type of system into a conventional milking system? Stimulation has huge benefits. As you know, we use many things to get cows well stimulated before milking today. A future cow brush would be a good example, right? A mechanical brush that cleans and really gets a cow.
Are you looking for some great Wisconsin cheese to take home with you? We've got you covered. Stop by our Dairy Showcase Village at the far south end of the Trade Mall near the Spark Hotel, featuring cheese from Schrader Case, Babcock Dairy, and Kramer Cheese. Stop and get yours today.
5 minutes? Ooh, I got to speed up. What do we see? Peak milk flows are much higher when we use this system. Durations shorten up dramatically. Unit on time gets shorter. Better teat end health because of that, right? Lower somatic cells, good udder health. Positive effects of the system. We see that in a graph like this. This is a graph of cows coming in using this system. Very consistent, fast, high peak milk flows, short durations, as opposed to what we see in a conventional milking system. Just by the change of a person who's doing that process, more sporadic, longer milk out times, as using our best practices. What does that mean? We got to really rethink how and where we allocate labor. When we can milk more cows faster and better, you don't need as many people in your milking system, right? Onboarding is easier. Who can do that work and how you have to train them is much simpler. And we make that work a lot better for the person doing it. Huge benefit to you to keep your people on your facility working for you. How we deliver this? Very modular. Easy to put in, easy for our dealers to install, systems that they've worked with for 15 years, right? We want to build it robust so that it's easy to change out components and fix and keep our uptime operation high. That brings high returns to the owner. How does this stuff pay for itself? The easiest way to look at return on investment of this is savings in labor. That's not everyone's goal. Other goals might be better milk quality or milk more cows or simply just reduce labor. We expect this system to pay for itself in 3 to 5 years. Why? Because that's what you told us you want if you buy this, right? Every farm's going to be a little bit different on what that payback period is. Some much quicker, some a little bit longer. But we know for you to invest capital in a system like this, that's what you expect. And we can talk through some of those scenarios at our booth, right? I'm not sure we're going to have time to do that. How much time do we got? 10? 10 minutes. All right. We have real life examples of this already going on, right? Milking duration, milk time to get the farm milked went from 8 hours down to 6 hours. What are we going to do with those 2 hours? Well, we certainly don't need as many people because we're moving more cows through the parlor simpler. Maybe instead of milking 500 cows, we milk 700 cows 3 times a day. Maybe it's a farm that already just milks 2 times a day and is going to go to 3 times a day milking, right? Huge benefits for the cow, for milk production, for milk quality. There's many scenarios in which these systems pay for themselves. The easiest one to think about is just directly less labor, right? But you have costs of, again, recruiting, training, and keeping people on your dairy. That expense really can be driven down when the process in the milking center is simplified. Okay. How's it more manageable? Yeah, as an owner, you have control of the system, right? You control the process of how much T-tip we apply, how long we clean, post-dip application, sanitation, right? That control is in the owner's wheelhouse. More control over the milking process. That's the benefit to the owner. Peace of mind that that technology is delivering consistency. From the operator standpoint, right? We want to simplify that process. We want to make it easier, make it more enjoyable. Keep them on your farm, enjoying their job that you're paying them to do. The cows, they need consistency. The data shows that when you do that, you get better results. Faster milk out, turn the parlor faster, milk more cows, have more downtime, healthier cows. That's our goal. Dairy Pro X is being released into the market this fall. Its application in stage 1 is for parallel parlors with a subway. We've intentionally targeted that market as a first step. We will roll this product out into other segments. I get asked this every day. When can I have it for my rotary parlor? That will come. This is step 1 as we roll this technology into that target market. And we have a very specific reason why. It's highly needed. There's a lot of farms that are 20 years old that need remodeling, and they want to drive more efficiency in what they already own, right? So we're targeting that market first, and that's where we're at. All right. Can't believe I got done in time. That's good. Questions and answers. Go ahead.
I have a lot of questions. I said I have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Your payback, did you figure the cost of disposing the extra water for
Sure.
from the backflush? Did you calculate the extra maintenance or ownership costs all into there? And what kind of labor cost per man day did you figure?
Okay, so probably should have started off this whole presentation with, there's like 5 hours worth of stuff I can talk about.
The first 11 minutes was a waste.
Just
as a tip.
The details. The answer is, yeah, the people that have purchased this took all of those into account. And so they all have different needs, wants, cost, right? Product usage, what they're using today, what they're using now. The answer is yes. The answer is yes. I can give you those specifics, but you and I would need to sit down and talk about it. But the answer is yes. That is part of the calculation.
So you don't know the labor cost calculated? Or you don't want to share it now?
Yeah, I don't know yours, but I do know,
I know mine.
the reference farms that we have in, yes.
Okay. Mine is $140,000 per 24-hour man day.
Yeah, and that's average or maybe a little higher than average. And some of the farms that we're at are actually lower than that. But 100%.
What about a dry lot dairy where the cows get dirty for a few days at a time now and then?
Yep.
Do you need to pre-clean, or will this do it?
Yeah, so a couple of factors that drive success with any automatic milking systems, and this would be honestly a little bit different than an AMS barn, a box barn, you know, with a robot, but condition of cows, environment, water quality. There are certain things that make this successful, right? So we can't just put it anywhere. So the advantage of having a human being in this environment is we can make decisions and still be successful. So common question, can I have sand? You can have sand. Can I be a dry lot dairy, or let's say I bed with whatever, shavings or recycled solids, right? Yes, the answer is yes, because we want to develop and bring solutions for a large portion of the market. But to answer the question about dirty cows is, it's easy with a human being in there. Your process might be slightly different than the guy down the road, maybe is on mattresses or has sand and has clean cows, right? So do you want a dry wipe to remove big particles off the teat? Absolutely. And can it go through the system? Yeah, it can, but probably best not to have it, right? To have more success, lower cost of operation, use less water. So dry wipe and attach. Or sporadically, right? If it's only a certain pen of cows that are unusually dirty, yeah, of course, we make adjustments.
Where is the break-off, roughly, of how many units per operator?
As we put more of these systems in, you know, again, feedback loop, right? We learn, we correct, we tweak software. Personal opinion at this point, because we've got only so many data sets, I personally think we have, and so some of this hasn't been done, but you know, the math kind of says double 24, maybe a 30. Again, big variable, right? But why? Milk production, type of cow, environmental factors, type of worker, willingness to, you know, you don't want to push employees to the nth degree that they're just physically tired in this environment, although we made their work really easier, but we expect them to just go 10 hours straight. So all being factored in, I think a 24 to a 30 is achievable with this system. Now, but if you have dirty cows and we're asking them to do more, no, we're gonna scale that back. But we've seen dramatic improvements in productivity on farms today. Now, do we have double 50s in? Not today, but believe me, we have lots of customers talking to us about the need for this. Because if you've got 5, 6 people in your big parlor, could you get rid of a couple? Absolutely. So cows got to come in, though. You know, the whole process. You understand.
2 people in a double 40 reasonable, or would you need 3?
It's possible. Again, hate to talk about things we haven't actually done, but we're up to sizes. We're not quite at that size farm yet, but I think reasonable as a goal, I think is achievable. But
what's the biggest you have?
I can't.
What's the largest you have in so far?
Double 25. Couple
and 1 or 2 people?
2 people right now. Hasn't been extremely long run time.
And how many cows?
I'm not sure. We can talk offline. I mean, I don't want to give all that. Maybe you know the customer. I was going to ask this earlier. Who's heard about this technology before you walked in here? Okay, yeah. So I was hoping at least a few. I mean, we've been talking about doing something like this for several years. And again, we've asked people for feedback, right? We've gotten people together and said, punch us around, right? Tell us what you need, what you like, what you don't like. This is what people have been asking for ever since we released the robotic rotary, right? I want it faster, cheaper, better. Get rid of the camera, get rid of the arm, do this, do that. All right, we understand that. And so I'm glad to hear that at least out in the marketplace, you've heard some buzz about what we might be doing. So
Any other
I'm,
questions?
the big hook's going to come out. And again, we're over in the exhibit area. Come by, especially you dairy producers, come by and get a T-shirt, ice cream, come visit us. We'll be there. So did I forget anything, Robin?
Fantastic.
So I appreciate, come by and talk to us.